All right, so this one will be the 6 or 7 stages that you'd want to reach in this existence, this 3D reality, right? That I want to reach, right? I would say I'm on the 4th stage ish, 3rd and 4th. So I'll go over the first 4 stages, and these are the 4 stages that I'm teaching, that I'm very confident in, and that my program is teaching. The other stages are places that I'm gonna discover, and I'm discovering, I'm going through, and we'll discover together, right? We'll have discussions about it, and it'll be a fun party. We'll see where it goes, right? But I think the first 4 stages are very important for us to go through. I think sickness, chronic illness, is a gift that we were given so that we can be enlightened. We can discover ourselves. We can be awake, right? Because I think it's a big shakeup that we need in order to make changes in our lives. I think chronic illness and the health, dealing with health, is just a gateway. It's just a vehicle to put you into a place that you want to be, right? It's not really about the health. It's not really that you're sick. It's just this is just a vehicle to get to places that you've never been, right? It's giving you powerful tools so that you can create the life that you want and be enlightened and be, grow spiritually, right? Grow that spiritual muscle. And going through this chronic illness phase, this recovery journey, is training. It's real, hardcore training. You're going to do the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. And it's necessary to go through all the layers of the onion so that you can get, so you can awaken. This is the awakening stage. This sucks. This is horrible. This is hard. But this is a gift, right? So in a way, you got to, congratulate yourselves. Like, you're here. You found a path. Stick to it, right? Here's the map, but you gotta walk forward. Make the mistakes. Discover things. Experience things, because you're gonna grow spiritually, mentally, physically, right? This is an amazing journey. This is an amazing voyage, exploration, and sometimes I think the health vehicle is a great way to get there, right? Some people, they do it with near-death experiences, but I think a lot of people do it through health, right? They have a health crisis, they overcome it, and they learn some shit, and they awaken, and they are able to tune in with themselves, your inner self, their inner world. You get aligned again, right? You get balanced again. So let's talk about the first 4 stages. And this is just generalized, and not everybody's going to be falling in this in these 4 stages or in this order. But this is something that I realized in myself, and I saw in many, many people. And I saw this pattern in the mind-body space. I saw this pattern because, you're connected with hundreds and thousands of people. With all the programs that I was on, they'd have communities, forums, Facebook groups, right? All the social medias, friends, people that are there to support you. You have friends that are helping you, that you might take programs with people, meet people, and then you have these support buddies. And you experience things together, you share things, and you see all kinds of things, right? And then there's coaching, right? I was coached, and now I am coaching, right? And you get to see a lot of things that you weren't able to see before, and you see a lot of patterns and a lot of synchronicities and a lot of check marks going, oh, interesting. Oh, I thought this when I went through it. I discovered this, but I'm sitting on the fence about it because I'm not too sure. And then you see other people say the same thing, or you see other people going through the same thing, or going through XYZ, and then you start connecting the dots. You get golden nuggets of clarity. You tap into consciousness over and over again, right? And then you start putting it all together, and you're like, interesting. So I'm going to share all this stuff, right? So this is just a generalized, kind of like a map of all the stages that you can expect and what I went through. And I might miss something. If I do, I'll make another video about it. Who gives a shit? All right. So this is kind of like the 7 stages. Generalizing. Just so you know, I'm just generalizing. So the first stage is when it's a shit show. You don't know what's going on, but you found a program, or you found, a path that you want to stick to. And this is one where you go, all right, I'm doing 1 or 2 things. I'm not doing 7. I'm not jumping around, implementing all these different modalities, being lost at sea. No, you got to pick one. Maximum 2, but pick something. Because I know me, I picked everything at the same time. It took one. I picked one. Well, before I picked everything, I did everything before that. I went down all the rabbit holes, all the Facebook groups, and got brainwashed and went down the rabbit holes. Then I tapped into the mind-body space. So it was a different can of worms, but it's a better can of worms, right? All that other shit I did before, gone, right? That got me, that got me even more sick, right? At this point, I'm traumatized by my physical symptoms, and I have certain beliefs that I learned from all this brainwashing, right? So I have these certain beliefs, and I finally get into mind-body space, and it started to make me ask questions. So I did all these modalities. I tried all these different mind-body space programs, right? And then I realized, okay, well, I have to do my own thing. I have to stick to one thing, which was my own. Right? I did all these things. I'm like, okay, that works. That doesn't work. But I have to experiment. My guinea pig, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then I was like, okay, I found what I like in the mind-body space, and I'm going to stick to this. And I stuck to it. 1,000%. I fell on my face 1,000 times. Right? But I stuck to it. And this is where faith came in. This is where I started to wake up spiritually, going through the hell. When you go through the hell, you start to see the light. When you go through darkness all the time, right? The hard darkness, then you start seeing the little crack of light, and it beams through, right? And then you get enlightened, because this is a journey, and a lot of you are going through this. And at first, I wasn't getting the golden nuggets of clarity right away. That's something that kind of slowly happened. But I had to start doing the work. I had to start doing my visualizations, right? I was getting guided. I knew I was getting guided. But I wasn't tuning in as much. I was just kind of stumbling on the path. It's like, here, fuck, push him in that direction. I'm like, oh fuck, right? I was falling in the right path. Like my guides and my higher self were fucking putting roadblocks in the way in a certain angle so that I would trip into the path. I was like, oh, another tree, oh yeah, right? I'm fucking thankful for all those obstacles, but they brought me to where I needed to be. And then I started to walk by myself. I started to walk my own path. I fell on my own, but I also got myself up over and over and over again. With it, every time I fell on my face, I gained another golden nugget, right? And those are priceless. This is why we're here. This is why you're on this fucking journey, because you are learning things that are there's a purpose to it, because it's starting to wake you up. It's starting to, you're going to find your purpose. You're going to find, you're going to restore yourself and have a new passion in life. You're going to find that love again, that passion, that desire, right? That beast is going to finally wake up. And we needed to get sick to do this. So yeah, the first year, you're just fucking learning shit. You're just going, okay, fuck. Okay, I'm doing this XYZ program, and I'm implementing it, and it's hard, and I don't like it, and I got all these symptoms, and it's fucking brutal, right? But you stick to it. You fucking do it anyway, right? So this is, for me, the first stage is all about the physical shit, right? I had mental stuff, but it wasn't dominant. right? I had the anxiety, I had the, the mental what if thoughts, but they weren't as strong as all my physical shit that I was dealing with. Like that stuff was that was the main alarms, right? And that's the, it's the beginning, it's the hard part. This is the hard part. Because you're learning how to do something, you don't know how to do it, you don't understand it yet. You don't understand anything, right? You're new to this shit, right? And then there's some people that are that have been in this mind space field for a long time. And they know what's the answer, but they've been taught some bad routines and some things that don't really work, right? And that's okay. Fuck, that's okay, man. Yeah, but the only thing I could say is a piss off is like, yeah, but I was fucking doing the wrong thing for 10 fucking years. I know the answer is this. I know it's a mind-body thing. I know, but fucking what a waste of time. Couldn't I have discovered this a little earlier? Yeah, I guess that's the one piss off, is the time that you're doing something for so long, and then you finally get that golden nugget that puts you finally find that missing piece that puts you on the the correct path that's ideal for you. We got all these paths that go in kind of like in the same direction, right? But we got these little, this path that goes through a forest, and the forest, like when you walk through the forest, it takes you 10 years to walk there, or you could have walked the path that was beside it that's not in the forest, but it takes you 2 years. But the destination at the end is the same. It's the same. So we got to learn different shit, fall on our faces in different ways. So there's a purpose to everything. Once you get to the other side, you're gonna go, that's why it took so long. Okay. Because it's this is all training. This physical training that we're going to, it has more meaning. Trust me, and it's going to mean something different to everybody. So, okay. So you finally pick the thing that works. You stick to it. You do it every day. This is stage 1. This is the fucking doing it every day. You have to fucking do it. Stick to it. No matter fucking what, you have to do it. Right? You can't miss a pillar, or you can't miss a stage, or you can't miss whatever the XYZ program says. But with my program, especially the alarm system reset, it's a basic program to get you recovered, right? It doesn't do any extra things that are not necessary, because if it did, it would probably take you longer to recover. And that's why this is a fucking minimized program. This is just boom, let's get you recovered, right? We're just here to recover you. That's it. It's like a production line. In, out, go live your fucking life, right? And that's done on purpose, because I want it to be more simple, less complicated, less triggering, so we can get those fires down, right? We don't want you getting a PhD in nothing, because then good luck, you'll be doing this for fucking another 20 years, right? We want to do this quick as possible. And there's still things that you have to go through, right? There's some things you can't rush, but I'm trying to give a program that gets to the meat and potatoes, so that you can be recovered, go live your life. So the first year, expect that this is mostly a physical journey, and by the time you get to the second stage, right? The first stage lasted me about a year and a half, right? It lasted me a year and a half. I started seeing peaks at the OCD mental alarms peaking in at 8 months, right? It started 8 months. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Why is it starting to spike? So some people might be, first stage is 1 year, right? That's easy enough, right? And then you go into the second stage, and then all of a sudden your mental alarms start to go. This is just generalized. Not everybody goes through this. Some people I don't have issues with mental alarms, so this isn't really okay. So I might have a little different path. That's fine. Good. Right? But what I've seen, and I'm not gonna give percentages, like 95% go through the mental alarm bullshit, and fuck. It's a shit show. You're going through all the layers. Your brain is, the reason for this, I might as well, not before I forget, the reason for this is because when you have physical symptoms to obsess about or pay attention to, those are alarms, because the brain is in a state of fight or flight. It's perceiving danger. It's hardwired there. Even if you're on the beaches of Costa Rica, but you went through some shit for 20 years, it's still running an old program of survival. Right? That's as easy as it gets. This is fold. This is filled. It's full. Bucket's full. It's overflowing. Symptoms are happening. Your body's overwhelmed. It's not working properly. It's not doing its job properly. Right? Your baseline's at 1,000, so you're going to have symptoms and chronic illnesses and all kinds of bullshit. So these alarms, your body's holding all these loads, pulling a 747, right? It's not able to work properly, but it's still doing its job. It's still keeping you alive. It's fucking genius. It's a brilliant system. It's still keeping you alive, right? You're alive, and you gotta give it a high five, man. You gotta give it a hug. You gotta love it. You gotta give it some heart. Give it some love. Go, man. Thank you, body, for protecting me for all these years. And you're still doing it. I'm breathing. Yeah, I feel like shit. But I created this program. Not my fault. Right? I didn't know. I made mistakes. Right? My environment, my life affected me in a certain way. That's why I'm here. This shit's happening. So you got these alarms ringing. They have a purpose because they want to get your attention because it's perceiving danger. It's going, look over there, look over there, look over there. There's a tiger, there's a lion, there's a liger, there's a bear. Wow, that rhymed. I like my steaks medium rare. Anyway. So we have to sit in the fear, allow it to be there, acknowledge the alarms, thank the limbic system, thank Limby for sending you the alarms. And then we have to engage. So the focus has been on the physical symptoms, right? The brain was able to get your attention to focus on these alarms. But once we healed all this physical shit, the brain's got to figure out how to get your attention still, because we're still in a survival state. Maybe this bucket went down to here. Maybe this, your baseline's starting to calm down a bit, but you're still firing off alarms because it's still perceiving lines in the area, in the courtyard. The line might not be on your back, but they're still running loose, right? It thinks there's a fire somewhere. Right? So it's going to bring up the mental alarms. This is when we go to stage 2. Right? Stage 2 is, for me, it was a little early. I started getting it at 8 months. 8 months. And that lasted me about 1.5 years. So stage 1 and 2, I went through for 2 years. 2.5 years. Yeah, I'd say 2.5 years. Right? This is where you're having a war in your brain, right? Your alarm system is going haywire. You got PTSD, OCD, anxiety, intrusive thoughts, depression, emotions are all over the place. You're angry, you're moody, you're a mental fucking shit show. Seriously. You think you're going to go crazy. You think you're going to go into psychosis, right? You think you're going to have multiple personalities. You think you're going to be one of those schizophrenia types, right? Your brain goes everywhere. It literally feels like it's going, and you feel like your brain's pulling this way, and then you got this bubble like this big. Physically, it feels like that, and mentally, you're like, how? Right? You're having an exorcism. This is the exorcism stage, right? When the alarms go crazy, and you're having a battle inside your brain. But the thing is, the brain has brought the troops, tanks, right? It's brought all the jets, fighter jets, and it's ready to fight or flee. But it's there to support you. And this is where you got to go, hey, put the guns down. No. We got to fight. All right, you think you got to fight, that's fine. But I'm here to show you a new program. So my response, this is where allow and engage and responding correctly to your alarms is important. This is where you're going to start doing the methods, right? This is where you're starting to learn to manipulate energy, because you want to go from one side of the program, survival, to rest and digest, where everything regulates so that the body can finally heal. And so you get some quiet times in your brain. So you get your brain back. But while you're doing a transition to here to there, you're still going to have those alarms ringing. And you're going to feel like shit. And it's going to suck. But you still have to do the work in between. So you got to walk through the magma in flip-flops, right, in order over and over again until it's transitioned to the new program. So get those flip-flops ready. Maybe buy 10 pairs because you're going to need them. Because we always had issues with anxiety here and there in the beginning. Yeah, it was always a thing, right? I remember I had a 3-week panic attack that didn't turn off in the beginning. Yeah, I know. So it was there. But now, right, while you're on this journey, it's now your mental alarms are laser focused. It's like a fucking laser beam, concentrated, relentless, doesn't fucking stop. You're under the water. Like, you're not worried about if you're going to live and survive to see 3 days from now. You're wondering how you're going to survive the next 3 seconds from now. Right? You know you're going to survive the next second because you're, oh, here we go. This is the next, next. Okay, I'm breathing. I'm alive. But what about 5 seconds from now? I don't know. I don't know. Right? That's what it feels like. It's laser focused. So we're going through all the layers of the onion. All of them. And you might find some interesting things. Because usually people that have gotten chronically ill like this have had some spikes throughout their lives, right? Where they had symptoms 10 years ago. Didn't know what it was. It was like a mystery symptom. Could have been physical. Could have been, a mental thing. And it subsided, right? Because it was like, it was getting a little full here, right? And then eventually it fucked off a bit, right? And you're like, okay, that's good. Or for me, I had mini shit shows or mini perfect storms, right? My big perfect storm happened 3.5 years ago or 3 years ago, right? That's when I had 70 symptoms. But before that, 10 years ago, I had a mini perfect storm, right? And I had these weird symptoms that popped up, right? Like, I'm sure most of you also, I'm sure along the way, 10 years ago or whatever, you had these little mini things come up, right? It didn't just go, you weren't just, living life happily, and then the next day, 70 symptoms. It doesn't work like that. There's usually a slow fucking buildup, and all of a sudden, the water overflows and holy fucking shit. So I had all of a sudden I had these weird trigger alert. Fuck it, you want to hear it anyway. I know you're going to get triggered. And you're like, no, but I want to hear it. What? All right. So one of my weird symptoms was out of the, when I went through the mini shit show, right? Perfect storm. Was that my knees started to feel weird. I had knee problems all of a sudden. And they would, I'd walk and they'd sometimes bend backwards. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Right? And they would have clicking noises. And they felt like there was resistance when I walked. It felt like it would it wasn't working smoothly. I wasn't just like, oh yeah, No, I had pain. I had resistance. It would crack and click, and sometimes it would feel weak, right? And I could feel weather patterns and shit. Like, it didn't make any sense. And then I said, fuck it, I'm just gonna, I have to go to work, I gotta make money, and I just dealt with it, and it went away. It took a year, but it went away. So you might remember old symptoms that you had that went away. Well, while you're going through this journey, right, and you're in stage 2, and I got this kind of written down so I don't forget, you might find, because you're going through all the layers of the onion, right, all the layers, your brain is like layers of the onion. There's these old doors that closed, right? They got cobwebs, right? It's like a room that hasn't been visited in a long time. And when you go through this journey, your brain's going to revisit some old doors. It's going to open them because it's bringing everything to you, right? So you might feel old symptoms pop up again. You might be like, oh, that old injury I had when I was playing football, it cleared up, but what the fuck? Why is it coming back? Right? Or you might get an old trauma thing that you dealt with that you didn't care about. All of a sudden it's coming back. You're like, why the fuck is this bugging me? Why is this thought bugging me? Why is that, things will come up. And it's really interesting because I dealt with this once before, and this is the only thing that got me through it. It scared the shit out of me, right? But I was like, okay, well, I dealt with it before. Worst case scenario, right? It'll go away. But this sucks, and I'm going through this again. And fuck, I thought this was 10 years ago. Why is it back? Why is it showing us? I'm like, I remember you. You were hanging around for a fucking year. Oh, no, does that mean I have to deal with you for a fucking year and feel uncomfortable like this? Right? Usually, no. You won't have to deal with it for that full stretch that you did when you first had that symptom 10 years ago. It's usually, it peaks its ugly face for a couple of days. Because now, remember, you're using new methods. You're responding correctly now. The alarm system reset. This is different. Back then, 10 years ago, it was a fluke that you got over that symptom. You just kind of figured it out by accident. But now you know, right? And you're creating new neural pathways. So this thing just made an appearance to get your attention, right? And also because you're going through all the layers of the onion. So don't worry about it. You'll process it quicker than you did when it first happened, right? Years ago, that some of those symptoms that you dealt with might have taken a year to move through. This time, it won't take that long. But when they do show it their face, it's going to be fucking scary. It sucks. But you'll get through it. Don't worry about it. And remember this video. Come back to it. All right, so you're in stage 2, right? The mental alarms are going up through the roof, right? You got the OCD looping. You can you're barely getting above water, right? And it's getting severe, intense. It's looping. You're looping on looping. You're, afraid of, you're fearing the fear. You're looping on looping. Anything that involves thinking is going to be thrown at you. You doubt everything. Doubt is making you doubt everything. You're doubting your religion, your beliefs. You're doubting the love that you have for you. You're doubting yourself. Everything about you. Your existence is a doubt. OCD is taking this opportunity to get your attention, to scan for danger, and it's using you. Right? It's doing it within. Not so much your environment anymore. Now it's going within, because that's the meat and potatoes. That's how it gets your attention. It's working brilliantly because it's desperate. You fucking cancel all these physical alarms off. So what do you think it's going to do? It's got to get fucking nitty gritty. Right? It's got to get really aggressive. And you will feel it. And a lot of you going, oh my God, oh my God. It's like an exorcism. It is, yeah, totally. Like the movie Exorcist, The Exorcist Part 1 and 2, they're all jealous of you, right? Even Satan's going, he's fucking scared, right? He's scared. He doesn't want to see this shit. He's like, right? Fuck. Anyway, so this is stage 2, and you got to do the methods properly. And this will lasted me. So I hit it at 8 months to a year, right up to 2 years, right? And remember, this might not be as long for you, because I fell on my face a lot. I had to readjust a lot. I was experimenting. So there was a lot of delays for me. A ton of fucking delays. Right? I had to readjust. And then when I found the right methods, then, that's why it took a little longer for me. But it might take longer for you. It might take longer than it took me. Who the fuck knows? Might not take as long. But as long as you get there, who gives a fuck? And you know what? Time fucking flies. Right? But time also can feel like it's taking forever. So as long as you're on the path, it gives a shit. Right? So anyway, I would say I was at 1 year to 2 years with the mental alarms. 2.5 years because they lingered a bit, because you get into the swing of life. right? You're recovered now. So this is stage 3. And remember, you needed to go through this. Before we get into the recovery talk, right? Stage 2 is a massive golden nugget in your life. This thing is training. This is physical training that translates in many forms, spiritually, right? Mentally, physically. And it has other meanings that you'll understand when you, because this is self-discovery. This is the phase where you are forced to learn all kinds of shit about yourself. You're learning how to manipulate energy. You're learning powerful tools. With this stage 2, you're learning powerful tools that are huge later on in other stages of your life, right? You can be able to create your reality. This stuff is spiritual shit. This is like a fucking, you're being enlightened. This is massive, right? You're going through things that 90% of the people around you or in your life don't understand. And I'm talking about the good things. They will never understand it. They will never be getting the deep clarity that you're getting. If you want to compare, if you want to feel like, yeah, I got more clarity. Yeah, you think you did, but no, you don't have this type of clarity, and that's true. So, as hard as this, you're earning it in a way. The suffering, because I think now I realize anything worth learning in life, you gotta suffer. That's where the real wisdom is suffering, because you're gonna learn some shit from it. So remember, you needed this to happen to get the self-discovery, and it's powerful shit, man. You're fucking wise now, man, right? If you're going through it, you know what I mean. So, third stage is recovery. Now, recovery has different meanings. For me, it means that you're able to live life fully and still have symptoms, right? People assume that, well, recovery means that you're symptom free totally. No, it doesn't. Recovery means that you're at a stage where you can function fully. For me, it's the point that I was before my shitstorm happened, right? So recovery is about here, right? It's that sweet spot before symptoms start to pop up, and that's why we got to stay on this path. That's the big part. That's the big message here. When you hit stage 3, keep going. All these other programs, most of them, I don't want to generalize all these programs too much, but most of them, they tell you, okay, now you're done. Awesome. Okay, have a good day. Oh, wicked. You created neural pathways, and here you go. All right, live your life. Right? Horse shit. This, especially this is the big time where you got to stay on track. Stay on here, because you're not restored yet. Recovery, restoring a totally different fucking things. So, when you're recovered, this is right when you're underneath those symptoms popping up. This is the threshold, right before symptoms go, right? This is right when they're going, okay, I'll take a nap. Right? Alarms are turned off. But it doesn't take much before you just put a little bit of loads in there, and then the alarms go, right? You get back online again, and then there you go with your alarm symptoms, feelings, and the whole shit that we don't want to have to keep doing programs on and off to turn off alarms. Then it turns into a coping mechanism. We don't want that. We want to fully empty the bucket, bring the baseline down to 0, and fully fucking restore. So, you're recovered, you still have symptoms, right? And this is a point where you're getting back into the swing of life. So you're going to get triggered because you're getting in the rhythm of getting back to living normally. You're letting go of some old belief systems because, hey, now you can eat this. Oh, wow. So I don't have to do this, and carry this and do that, and I can just do this. Life's so much easier, but you got to get used to it, right? You're walking again. You don't need the wheelchair, right? You don't need the coping mechanisms anymore. You just go live your life. So there's an adjustment period. There is getting back in the swing of things. Well, you might be going back to work, and there's stress there hidden behind that, right? There's curveballs ready to be thrown at you. Life situations happen. You're getting back into the front seat and you're driving again. So you got to adjust again. So you're going to have things where symptoms will come up and down a bit during, your recovering stage, which is stage 3, right? And it could take, for me, the recovery stage was like a year, and it could, some people could be 2 years, 3 years, because adjustment periods take time. So this is where you're going towards restoring. You want to fully empty this guy, right? Your bucket. You want to fully bring your baseline down. And this is where this could take 2 years. But that's okay because you got your life back. And this is where I say keep going. Because who knows what else will heal that we never even thought for a million years will heal. You'll be surprised. Keep going. We're finally giving our body the chance to do its thing, and then people want to pull the plug? Does that make sense? Okay, all right, you're starting to feel a little better, you're sniffling, fuck it, we're pulling the plug, get out of here. Like, no, we want to heal. Don't rush that. Keep going. Let's see what else we can heal, right? Those floaters, or your voice, want to get you want to see better, you want to get the blurry vision, got little things that you never thought could lift. All of a sudden they lift. That's crazy. So stay on track. Let's empty everything as best as we can. Bring everything back to zero and create neural pathways there, right? Because we're creating neural pathways up to here, but that's not enough. I want to restore. So you're going towards being restored. That's what we want. But life will throw a curveball. So you're going to be in and out of being restored. You're going to be restored and then kind of recover. Symptoms pop in and out, right? And that's okay. This is all learning. You're learning a lot of shit through this process. So now you're in stage 4, where this is where it becomes part of a lifestyle. This isn't a program anymore. This is something that you do because you want to and you enjoy it. You do your visuals because you want to be having a meeting with yourself every day. You're creating your life that you want. You're building a business, or you're finding new passions. You find your purpose. Right? And this is where we tap into consciousness. This is where we grow spiritually. We've been slowly growing spiritually. We're discovering, we're slowly waking up through this whole 1, 2, 3 process, right? We're going through the training. But number 4 is where you get a lot of the clarity. You have less resistance, right? When before the physical brain was cock blocking you spiritually all the time, right? But now you've tuned the beast. You calm the alarms. Now you can hear clearly. There's peace. You're hardwiring happiness. You're Ned Flanders, right? You have less resistance in your life, less noise. Now you're able to be in the flow of things. Now, spiritually, mentally, and physically, you're able to implement everything and create the life that you want, right? Now you really have self-discovery. Now you can really enjoy life. And this is where you practice. You're practicing. This is what I'm doing. I'm practicing tapping into consciousness, getting golden nuggets of clarity. Like, I'm not saying that I'm becoming a channeler or a medium or a psychic or a person that, some of these people that have these crazy gifts. What I'm saying is I'm an average Joe that went through this, I recovered, but I've also learned that I'm able to tap into consciousness, right? Tune in to my intuition and get answers. And everybody else, I think, on the minimum basic level can do this. So what I want to do is I want to help people recover, but I also want them to discover themselves, that they can also tap into consciousness, right? And tap into their higher selves and get answers, right? Like an average Joe, right? I'm not saying you're going to be a channeler. Hey, some of you might. I'm not saying you guys are going to all of a sudden have these crazy spiritual gifts and be able to see through the future and be able to, talk to other entities. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, minimum, at minimum, you're going to be able to tune in to your higher self. But whatever questions you have, you're going to have answers to. You're going to be able to tap in and find that out. You're going to get those golden nuggets of clarity, right? You're going to find your purpose. You're going to find your passion, right? Your radar is going to start to work. You're going to have deep levels of self-discovery, a lot of holy fucking shit moments, right? And this is where the manifesting starts to come in. This is where you create your reality. This is where things start to make sense. Because you're going to look back in your journey and go, wow, this was perfect. The way everything was orchestrated. Wow. You get all this clarity. And you're still kind of putting the pieces together. You're like, wow, you're doing a lot of this. Interesting. Right? Or like Robert De Niro. You're good. You're good, right? You're getting a lot of clarity and you're sitting with it. And you're almost like being a student with what just fucking happened. You're like, I can't believe I just went through all this shit. And I can't wait to open up the next chapter in my life. And then you start doing it. You make mistakes, you readjust, you pivot, right? You manifest shit. All right, well, you know what? I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to create my life like this. You find passion, you go towards it. You find other passion, you start having, it's like a playground now. You start to explore. And you're still learning, you're practicing while you're exploring. And I'm assuming this is where I'm going to get at. Stage 5 is you're living the life that you want. Right, with confidence. You're creating the reality that you want. And you're maintaining it. Because life's still going to throw us curveballs, right? We're still maintaining it, but at a higher level, right? And we're starting to get enlightened. Right? We're becoming more in tune with our environment, nature. And I think that goes right into stage 6, where you have confidence, you become enlightened, you become an ascended master, you flow with your environment, nature, and I think when you hit the 7th stage, I'm not sure how long these stages take. Some people might never reach these levels. I'd like to. But there's also no rush. It's one of those things that there is no timeline, right? It's just, it'd be nice to get to it, to discover that, and see what it's like, right? So part 7, I would assume that you're in tune with nature. You're creating a reality with abundance. You're confident. You're maintaining the life that you want. And you're also helping others by example. Living your full life. And it's becoming such a strong vortex, right? Your vibration is becoming this vortex. Because you got this down tuned, right? You're in this natural flow. And you're able to get in and out of it whenever you need, right? You got this tuned down. No problem. Because you've been training for fucking how many years? You're at the 7th fucking stage. Of course, right? You got this down. You're an ascended master. You're like fucking, right? And so you start creating this vortex. And then people are tuned into you. And they want to be like you. And they want to get that. They want to be there, right? So you start helping others. You attract this love vibration that is forcing other people to tune into you so that they do it for themselves. It's like a healing vibration. You're waking up the masses, right? You're helping people to wake up, to make a difference in all their lives. And you're helping people to learn to tap into consciousness. So then it becomes your main purpose. For me, I'm at stage 4, and I feel like I have a purpose to help as many people recover, but put them on a journey of self-discovery and get enlightened. So the health is, this little piece here, when there's so much more to it. And I think I can use the health as a vehicle to get people to this other part, right? So I think that's my purpose, and I'm excited to do that. So I think that's, the 7 stages. I could be off by a stage or 2, whatever, but But I am mainly here to show you the 4 stages of recovery. Getting you recovered, back in the swing of life, right, and fully restored. Thriving, where we actually get to a point where you set off a stress response in your body on purpose. So we go deeper. We don't go at 0, we go minus 0. Fuck. Sure, minus 0, minus 5, minus 15. So you never get sick, you never get the flu, you never get any colds, you never get, any issues. You become superhuman. Right, though? And then eventually supernatural.